Hi there friends, welcome to another video on Tableau. In this demo I'm going to show you how you can create a Pareto chart. A Pareto chart is a type of chart that contains a bar and a line graph. And the line graph pretty much shows the accumulative total on the chart. And lastly, the Pareto chart is named after the economist Wilfredo Pareto. With that being said, allow me to start by first creating a bar chart. In this case, as you know now by now, that a bar chart is created using a dimensional or categorical measure and in which case subcategory is dimension, and a measure, which in this case could be the sales. And there you go, we have our bar chart. So next thing we need to do is pretty much replicate the sales measure onto the shelf next to the sales, so we can have two bar charts that are duplicates here. Now we're gonna do is we're gonna use dual axis option to bring both charts onto the same axis. Check my video on how to use dual axis to create dual axis line charts for more information. But for now, let's go ahead and click on dual axis, and there you go. Automatically, Tableau changes our bar chart into plot charts and uses these circles to specify that each of these value points are where those bar graphs aggregated peaks are located. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to keep our bar graph. Since the Pareto chart involves bars, we're going to keep the bar graph for one of them, right? Remember, there are two, these are dual charts. There are two charts on the same axis right now. So one of them we will keep the bar graph. Let's say we change the color to green. And then the second one which is represented by these circle shapes, we will, I would like to change that to a better shape, let's say. I think I have a shape downloaded here from the other day. Oh, there you go. So, how'd you like that for your bar chart? So now we have the bar chart, a dual axis bar chart plus plots that represents the peak of the aggregation sum of each of these categories, right? So what we need to do is we need to do a little bit of calculation here, and that calculation, as I said, a Pareto chart is a bar chart with a line chart where the line chart shows the accumulative growth of that whole distribution in the chart. So we need to change the secondary chart, which is these points, into a line graph. And then before we do that, we need to add some calculation. And to add the calculation, sales 2, which is this one, remember there are two same variables plotted here, and then we have them on the shelf. So this represents the second one, the sales. So we need to go to the quick table calculation and click on add table calculation. So simply we're going to click on running total, because why? Because Pareto chart is accumulative line bar graph. Now we have accumulated running total, which is nothing but a summation of each of these bars or points growing as we move toward the end of our data. So that will be the first one. We can also add a secondary calculation where we can add a percentage of total that will allow us to go from total to percentage, so that it's always better to look at percentage indicators rather than looking at the actual total numbers. So two calculation was just added here. Again, the first one is the running total, which is the summation, accumulative sum of each of these bars, each of these categories, each of the aggregation, accumulative aggregation of some aggregation of each of these data points. And then the secondary one is a calculation over calculation, meaning a percentage of each of these points in relation to their total. So once we do these two operations, we're going to go ahead and close the table calculation menu. There you go. Now we have our Pareto chart. The only difference is that we don't have a line. And I just added this shape because it's my favorite shape for the bar graphs, is to show you how you can actually customize and format your bar graphs to having shapes on the peak of your bars. But let's go ahead and simply change that to line. And there you go. And let's say we change that to red color, which is one of my favorite colors. And there you go. Now we have a Pareto chart with a line graph that shows accumulative growth of those data points from 0 all the way to the end of it. So let's say this data point, and remember each bar graph is a data point, and you see it here by moving your cursor on the graph, on the bar. But how you see it on the line graph, you just simply move to the point that's shown on the line graph. So the machines, right? The machines has had a sale of 189,239, but it's accumulatively comprises 64.51% of overall percentage. This is what it's trying to tell you. And as you move up toward the line, and as you see, this is going down, but it's going up. Why? Because it's accumulative. It's accumulative running sum of the total of the sales. And as you move toward up, this percentage keeps going up: 98.61%, 99.32%, 99.87%, and lastly 100%. It's an accumulative distribution of running sum of all these sales. Thank you so much for your time. I hope that you found this video helpful.